Okay, it's, very, very busy season. Of course, you all know about the state funeral given to the former president. And the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, was in there totally, so to speak. He was in there totally. He received his body, and he stayed from the beginning to the end. But apart from that, there's also the matter of the Awujale, the late Awujale of the Jebode, who went to join his ancestors. Actually, there's a lot of conversation going on about that. We don't say in Yoruba land that an Oba has died. He has wajad. And there are those who are saying that, did Kabiyesi, did he really waja, or did he die? Considering that the way the Awujale has gone is the full religious way. There's an ongoing conversation about that. But we'll look at that today, and we'll see if we can also look at another aspect. But first of all, the president, his wife, and other dignitaries at Awujale's 8th day prayer ceremony.
It was a special visit of President Bola Tinubu to Ijebuland in Ogun State in honor of the memory of one of the longest-serving monarchs in Nigeria, Oba Sikiru Adetono, the Awujale of Ijebuland, who died at 91 years after spending 65 years on the throne. The president, who departed Abuja earlier today, touched down at the Gateway International Airport, Iperu, in Ogun State, and was received by Governor Abiodun and other eminent personalities in the state. He later proceeded to the private residence of Awujale in Ijebu, where he signed the condolence registers and met with family members. Speaking during the 8-day prayers held at Dipo Dino Stadium in Ijebu, the president described Awujale as a true monarch who was always there to support his people in times of needs. He confirmed the support and blessings of the monarch for his presidential ambition and during the struggles of June 12.
Our history would not have been completed carefully and richly if I'd failed the last election. I was successful because of your support and the blessing of late Awujale.
The president also called for unity, consistency, and mutual respect in honor of the legacies of the departed monarch.
We have to be more united, bonded, and the spirit that he left behind. Cherish his legacy and appreciate him in death.
Governor Abiodun, on his part, described Oba Sikiru Adetono as an irreplaceable monarch who displayed truth and stood for good governance and development with transformative impacts. He described him as a voice of the voiceless, a man of integrity, and a reformer who brought prestige on the throne.
Baba was a man of exceptional intellect and also rare integrity. Even before ascending his throne, his brilliance and forthright nature shone brightly. He redefined traditional leadership, transforming the Awujale institution into a dynamic platform for good governance, national dialogue, and moral leadership.
Earlier in his sermon, the chief imam of Bagura, Kamaldeen Balogun, highlights the vanity nature of life and wants people to remember their end by doing good at all times, noting that death is inevitable and will come without notice.
We must relate this world with the Al-Akhirah. Coming to the world, it is involuntary. Taking our exit one day is inevitable. And it is inevitable, and it is without notice.
The event was attended by notable personalities, including the wife of the president, Oluremi Tinubu, governors of Kwara, Ondo and Ekiti states, deputy governors of Lagos and Oyo states. Others include 3 former governors of Ogun State, ministers, and members of the National Assembly. Kazim Olowe, TVC News, Ijebu.
Okay, so there you have it, a big day, a very big day for the president, and indeed, for the family of the departed. A big day because we're talking here about, you know, two giants, two statesmen. One, the former president, and we've been on that since last week, and also now the passing on to glory of the Awujale of Ijebu-Ode. And as you have heard in there, he's set something of a record. I think he's the longest reigning Yoruba monarch, and a man who is widely celebrated for his depth, for his wisdom. You know, all of that's the Awujale for you. He is also known to be a very bold traditional ruler, but everything he did, it was all for his people in the first instance of Ijebu land, and of course Nigeria as a whole. And he was so celebrated. In fact, that the president has gone over there. The president, his wife, former governors, all of them were there. This just, you know, points to, you know, the high esteem in which he is held. And as I said, it's hard to separate the two because you're having a situation here where plenty of respect is being put on the memories. The president went in there, he laid a wreath. I believe that he also did something similar at the burial ground, burial ceremony of late Muhammadu Buhari. I'm not too sure about that. I don't know if it's acceptable in Islam, but you know, there you go. Let's see, Mr. George. Good morning, Mr. George.
Good morning, Uncle Yori, and happy Monday morning.
Indeed, same to you.
Uncle Yori, thank you for bringing this matter up for a discussion this morning. You know, nothing in this life happens by chance. Mm-hmm. The fact that the Awujale and President Buhari passed on the same day is lesson driven. From my young age, I've been following the activities of Awujale.
Okay.
You know, he was on that throne for 55 years, if I'm correct.
Yes.
And as I was growing up, I started hearing about him. I worked in a bank with one of the sons from that kingdom as a boss. So I had opportunity to hear much about him because that man was very close to the Awujale. You see the trait that the Awujale has. He has very similar traits with that of Buhari. Integrity. Why am I saying this? There are many times that this Oba, this king, was approached by notable politicians to buy his support with money. He will refuse. There was a president that went up, don't want to mention names, wanting to be elected and brought dollars. Some of us are aware because we know people who were closely in that environment.
Yes.
He rejected it. He said, you should go and show the people your scorecard. You have been in government for so number of years. Show them what you have done. That will be the basis for their electing you. That's a man that we should honor. In his position, there was another occasion of it, and that politician brought dollars to Lagos and called all the Southwest notable traditional rulers to come and share. He was the one that spoke and said it is wrong. That was what discouraged the others from going to collect the money. And we know how that election went. I also heard Mr. President yesterday when he mentioned about how the Oba was instrumental, morally and prayerfully to his emergence as president.
Yes. Yes.
The support didn't come because that Asfaju is a Yoruba man. It is because the Oba knows the integrity and the ability of Mr. President. Tinubu is not the only Yoruba person that has contested presidential election. This Oba didn't do the same. Just to let you know that some of us have been watching him. It is somebody who is a king has to show integrity and moral to his people, because that is the first thing that brings about the upbringing of a child and somebody that will become an asset to a society. And that's what we want people to want other traditional rulers to emulate.
Indeed. Indeed.
Just as we are talking about Buhari today. His achievements in governance is not as important as his person, what he brought to bear. There was a time, Uncle Yori, the former president reduced salaries of presidents, the former president, and they brought 22 million to Buhari as salary for every month. He said, for what? He took 2 million out of it and returned the other 20 million. This is a man that when he wanted to build his house, the bungalow he has in Kaduna, he had to go to bank to borrow 200,000 naira at that time.
Yes.
As a president, when he had all the money, he had access to use money of the government to build a house and do whatever he likes. Until today, we are not aware that this man has an account anywhere outside his country. The the King of England, Prince Charles then, was asking in a viral video, do you have a house in England? And the man replied him, no, I don't need one. We have to...
Indeed. It's like, it's almost like they don't make them like that anymore.
Yes. If I were the Minister of Education, the character of these two men, I would use some of those characters to incorporate into our school curricula so that our younger ones will learn it in school.
All right, then.
If you can't get it at home, at least they can get some of it in our school curricula. That's my recommendation, and I wish the minister would hear me.
Thank you very much for calling in, Mr. George. Appreciate your call, but also freeing the lines up in case there's anybody else. As I said at the top, a man, widely respected for his integrity and the wisdom. All his chiefs speak like that. I was listening to, I think it was the Ogbeni Oja of Ijebu land, Olorogun, Dr. Sonny Kuku, testifying to the wisdom of the man. And everybody says the same thing. The president, he's held in high esteem, both among his peers, all the other traditional rulers. They always speak very, very highly of him. And even the president yesterday said that he was particularly happy that when he had gone to him during the whole campaign era, Awujale had, indeed said that he would, be successful in his quest. And not only that, he had actually predicted that he would have a second term. I guess the president, had to slip that in. It was said, and it's useful. So why not say it? The man couldn't be persuaded to go against his will. So he, Tony in Bayelsa, good morning to you, sir. Tony in Bayelsa, good morning. Okay, we lost Tony in Bayelsa, but please keep the calls coming in. We're looking at, first of all, the fact that it's the 8th day, that is yesterday was the 8th day prayers as a Muslim for the Awujale of Ijebuland. And you see how it was within hours of each other that they actually moved on to the great beyond. And so there's a sense in which the 8th day prayers are going to be sort of very much around the same area. Okay, so there you are. We're looking at the, two great Nigerian statesmen. That Mr. Joshua, good morning to you, sir.
Good morning to you, sir.
Thank you for calling in.
I wish you long life and prosperous living. I just want to slip that in to wish you that.
Amen. Thank you very much, and I wish you the same.
To remain there and
Thank
serve
you.
us.
Thank you very much.
You.
Thank you.
My take on all these two giant national icons that died,
yes.
The former president and then the Awujale. My take on it is still speaking to the leadership question I said this generation needs to answer.
Mm-hmm.
There's a leadership question we haven't answered or addressed. The lives of these people can help us to address them. People who are saying that these characters are in short supply, where you have people of integrity, people of impeccable track records and all these things. They are not in short supply, Uncle Glory. You are an example of that. And there are quite a lot of people out there in very little ways. So there is a Buhari culture in Nigeria. There's an Awujale culture in Nigeria where we have people with dignity, with character. But what we haven't done is institutionalize these things.
Okay.
Most people don't know what is called integrity. They don't know what is called character. We have placed money above the dialogue on character. You know, the moment somebody has money, everybody starts eulogizing the guy. Everything is thrown. Everybody lowers their guard because of money. Where did that money come from?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
My parents back then taught us, or they taught me that it is better for you to die than to go and steal. Now we are celebrating thieves. So the question for us should be, we need to institutionalize integrity. So that we will not be saying it is a Tinubu factor. It is something that Buhari possesses. No. If Buhari possesses it, how many people has Buhari transferred it to? How many people possess the qualities of Buhari? Now, let me say it here. Buhari, for example, is in LDA, this narcotic fighting institution. Right? There's a Buhari there. Mawa, the former governor of the military administrator of Lagos State, is another Buhari. That guy is extremely honest. You will see how much they are doing at the moment and bringing a huge amount of sanity to the environment by catching a lot of drug barons. That guy is another. So just look at these people. They are there. Mm-hmm. But we need to have it as an institution. We need to speak more about the character of a nation as a culture than the character of individuals in that nation. So that missing link, I think NOA is beginning to talk about it by their campaign.
The National Orientation Agency.
Over time, yes. Over time, we will institutionalize it, and it will become the cultural thing for us. For the uppership situation, my problem there, Uncle Yori, is making a religion out of it. I think we need to return it back to the traditional way, rather than making it a religious institution. That's just my take on it.
Thank you very much for calling in. Really appreciate your call. It's an interesting point you make, and as you know, there's been a whole conversation. It's been raging over the last point that you made. Our guest, Dr. Tunji Abayomi, is in the studio now, constitutional lawyer, political affairs analyst. A fine morning to you, Dr. Abayomi. It's great to have you as always. We wanted to look at two subjects today, and we've just about almost finished on one, dividing it right down the middle. That is to say, the two statesmen. We're talking about former President Muhammadu Buhari and the Awujale of Ijebuland. Two statesmen who have gone, and people have been eulogizing them, that these are men of timber and caliber. These are men, of integrity. And I said that, this is what we've been hearing all over the place. So we might as well, before we go into our subject that you have prepared for, the constitutional review and Southwest governors and the attitude, give us your thoughts on these two icons.
Well, first and foremost, time defines all of us. And what will be left is a testament to our time. With regard to President Buhari, obviously there are lots of thoughts and opinions. Well, like I told one of your colleagues, when he came into power, I think it was it in 1993 to 1995? It was a time of great threat to liberty. That's a perception within the human rights community. However, if his commitment to discipline and orderliness in the nation had persisted, would we have run into the level of corruption and disorder that pervaded the nation post his tenure as at that time? That was a time when our people were disciplined. You couldn't go against one-way traffic. There was orderliness in
that was his first coming as a military head of state.
That was his first coming. But it was also a time that was denoted by a lot of threat perception, perceivably threat to liberty. A lot of people were jailed. We've led to right to defense. Now, his second tenure, I think the perception is that by this time he was a little tired and that his personal ethos, which is discipline, low interest in consumption of national wealth,
yes,
a mild man, unfortunately didn't pervade his government. In terms of personality, I think he will have to be respected. I have met him like about 4 times. I met him in President Obasanjo's house. I met him, I think I was one of the people that screened him for president. I met him in now President Tinubu's house at a time, and so on as a total of, he was an incredibly simple man.
Oh, yes, that's
and
what
I also
says.
traveled with President Obasanjo when he went to deliver Arewa lecture. We also stopped in his house in Kaduna. So he's an extremely simple man. But how he was able to translate his ethos to national government, I'm not sure he was able to achieve that.
Okay.
So in Africa, we say we don't talk evil of the dead. So we can only say, may his soul rest in continued peace. With regard to Awujale, it's an interesting issue because his death also raised an interesting issue between religion and tradition.
Indeed.
Indeed. Which is quite interesting. How do you now merge it? Here he occupied a traditional seat.
Yes.
But an exceedingly religious personality in terms of Islamic faith.
Yes.
And at the end of it all, he chose that he would like to be buried, not according to the Yoruba tradition, but according to Islamic faith. I believe that in future, this issue will generate a lot of debate and opinion within particularly the Yoruba cosmological thought.
Yeah.
You know, so...
but as you recall, he had actually worked towards making his preference for himself into a law.
Yes.
So people can say that it is legal if you want to use that particular thing. But the number of traditionalists, Yoruba traditionalists, who are taking exception to, look, there is a difference. You know, that is how they're looking at it, that there is a difference. You know, it's a traditional stew, as we've just said. You came in traditionally.
Yes.
But now you've decided that you want to exit, you know, it differently. And it is his right to do, because as I said, he had caused it to be made into law.
But that's why I said that there's going to be a continued debate on the issue within Yoruba ontological and cosmological thought.
Yes.
Because now, if you are going to go to become a king in Yoruba land, or even a major traditional chiefs, I'm sure they're going to put it down.
Yes.
Have you accepted to follow the path of tradition in terms of your office, your burial, and so on and so forth? So that's why I said it's going to continue.
Know, as you said, sir,
Yes.
it's going to be a very interesting one because even though the governor is the person who appoints,
Yes.
you know, but you see, the governor does so on advice.
Yes.
And on advice from the kingmakers.
Yeah.
The kingmakers themselves
Yeah.
take their own standpoint from
Yeah.
the Ifa oracle.
Yes.
Nobody can make anybody a king if
You
the
cannot
Ifa
become
oracle
a king
without
unless,
your
yes.
Ifa oracle.
Yes,
you know.
that is it. You have to consult the Ifa.
Exactly.
And the Ifa will now decide. This is out of many contestants.
Yes.
You know, Ifa will now say, according to Yoruba tradition,
Yes.
this is the person that is fit for that office. So, but I also believe that having achieved that, even before we get to that stage of consulting Ifa, I'm sure in traditional Yoruba now, among the kingmakers, they're going to first of all get an undertaking
Yes.
that you succumb and subscribe to traditional processes, not only in terms of your emergence as a king, but your authority, disposition of your authority, and what happens to you at the end of your tenure. I believe that discussion, because you can see the reaction of the traditionalists.
It was,
they feel offended.
They did. They
Yes.
did. They did.
know,
They did
so
feel offended.
it's
They
going
said,
to be an
so you
interesting-
departed from the ways
Yes.
of our ancestors.
So if you know that you cannot follow the tradition, you have some kind of reservation.
Yes.
Then why to become a king? You understand? You might as well become either a pastor, a bishop, or an imam, or whatever. You can choose that. But if you now choose to be a king, you know, then you must obviously have accepted, you know, the tradition of our people. So that is why the discussion will continue, you know. In fact, he has raised a very serious issue.
Indeed. So we'll leave that as I said. It's going to keep on coming back.
Yes.
Because it's
It will be a continued
yes,
dialogue.
It's a paramount thing in Yoruba land.
Yes.
Yes, we do have Christian and Muslim
Yes.
Obas in Yoruba land.
Heretofore, it has
Yes.
always been like
but
that.
the part of the traditional
It has
Ifa
always been
oracle,
dominant, as a matter
it has
of
been
fact.
dominant.
Yes.